up, straight and tall. So pay attention to these details of posture, tucking the thighs, the outer thighs toward the hip socket. Make sure the buttocks are long, tucked backwards and broadened. Keep the back of the thigh also broadened from inside out. Just slightly, you're not really trying to distort or drag skin. You're just trying to release the tissues in a healthy direction. Release those legs down. Use your hands to help support this spine upward. Create height in the groins themselves, the pelvic region itself. Spine up tall, shoulders back, shoulder blades down. Bring your hands to your thighs. Close your eyes, draw your attention in. And even now, there are small postural considerations. Gradually begin altering, shifting to more breath awareness rather than postural awareness. Particularly the exhalation. Use the exhalation as a way of clearing the mind and body of debris, clutter. The breath is the yogic cleansing technology. That's Prashant's word. Join your palms. Let your inhalation be a kind of natural response to the thoroughness of your exhalation. I do not ask you at this time to really change anything serious about your exhalation, except your attention. Don't try to build velocity. Don't try to build super volume. Don't try to slow things down. Just allow your breath to penetrate, move through. The first mention of the use of the breath in the Yoga Sutra is a reference to the usefulness of the exhalation as a way of quieting the mind. So in this way, let's begin class. Paying homage to that teacher and this practice. Bow your head. Now keep your chest lifted, Release your hands down. Raise your head. Open your eyes. And stretch your legs straight, right up to the soles of the feet. Now, somebody besides me is not muted. Is it possible for you to mute yourself?
Yes.
Yes, Gay. And
Okay, I'm muting.
thank you. Good. Now, come off your blankets. I'm going to move these chairs. You will eventually need a chair, but not right now. Okay. First pose, just to be straight. Dandasana, where you were before. Now, feel free to use blankets under your hips. I cleared my sticky mat. You, of course, can keep some kind of height underneath you. The point being, see if you can make this base of the spine come up. As you sit, this bony structure of the sacrum has to lift up. So if it can't do it without pain or really uncomfortable strife, then get a blanket or 2 blankets. Use your hands for support. Bend your elbows so that you have a way of pushing down and lifting the trunk up. Stretch your legs. Head on top. Okay. There's a few of you, if the neck is sore, you can let the neck and the spine come forward and rest, but you keep the lower spine very carefully. Okay. Now stretch your legs, push those buttocks down. Even though I said lift the sacrum up, let this buttock skin descend. If you start tightening these muscles, you also start tightening these front grippy groin muscles. You need the buttock muscles down and the bone up. Buttock muscle down, bone up. When the muscle goes down, you can relieve the grip in front. If you can't do it, take more height. Can you be free of your arms and come up? Urdhva Hastasana in Dandasana. Now pull one side up. Lift up through the bones, release the muscle, change hands, pull up. Back rib, side rib, stretch both arms. The head again can come forward if it helps the neck. Exhale, come down. All right, legs apart. Upavishta Konasana. With or without support, I won't go through the same description each time, but the short story is bones have to be upright and the flesh of the buttocks descends. These outer thighs go to the hip sockets and still you keep the buttock descending. So you don't want to get a giant grip in this buttock muscle. Do not grip it. Comb it down. Lift the bones up. Stretch your legs out to the feet. Come up through the spine with support. And can you take your arms out to the sides and come up tall, way tall. If you want, pull again, pull again. Now I'm gonna face you. Lower the arms and watch what I do. I'm gonna, I'll lean to your right, and the left hip might come up a little bit. With the left hand, I'm gonna see if I can push this left thigh toward the foot and toward the floor, all while I'm keeping the pelvis spreading away. In other words, I'm trying to open up that hip a little bit. If this is somehow painful for you, if it gives pain, if there's something not right, please stop. The movement is to open the hip, not the low back. So let that outer hip open and the thigh come down. Sit straight. If you did what you're supposed to do, you'll feel this thigh is more firm on the floor. Then you go the other way. And move that thigh. Push. Release that tension so you feel that thigh move away from you and toward the floor. And then sit back down, sit up straight. Reach out. Turn a bit to the right, your right. Left hand forward, right hand back. Lift your trunk up, turn. Your right side. Now, that same pressure has to be remembered on this back leg thigh. You can't really do it with your hand. It's your mind that has to, in your imagination, apply your hand to push that thigh down and away. So this groin space opens and the buttock releases, come around forward. Keep the right outer thigh down. This is the anchor with kind of an imaginary hand as the rest of this, all of these muscles are free to be soft. These muscles are not bunching up and making the turn. They're spreading down to the floor. And out you come. Now, last bit, Baddha Konasana. Now, please be respectful of your knees and your groins. So if you require some height underneath your hips, please take it. If you sit high enough that it is hard for you to catch, if you sit on many blankets because there's stiffness, and if there's stiffness, you need height. So I'm making a lot of height here for myself. And it's narrow, it's better if it's bigger, like you get a bolster and pile blankets on the bolster. And you put your feet together and your knees might still be up, or you're just barely okay here. This is where you want to be. Now, if it's hard for you to catch your ankles, then actually it's probably smarter to catch your shins, catch where you can catch. As another thing you can do, which is really pretty helpful for some people. So if you see this, I'm just making a height to put my heels on. For many people, elevating the heels on something can help the legs relax. So I'm going to sit lower now, at least get rid of this part. Now, if that elevation, again, it's all an experiment. And if this somehow is not giving you a sense of more freedom, elevating the heels, then take the blankets out. Take your heels down. Hold the shins, hold the ankles. If you can, hold the big toes, pull your spine up tall. Lift that sacrum by the pull of the hands. Lift your sacrum. Having lifted the sacrum, release out through these thighs as if there were a hand pushing, but there isn't. Unless you want to, if you've got the balance to push with your hands, go ahead. To move those thighs toward the knees. But if you don't have that position or stability, you do it with the groin and you tuck your outer thigh to the hip socket. How's it going? Okay? You okay? All right. All right. Out you come. Help your legs out. And stretch straight. Dandasana. Once again, I'm going back down just because it's more proper. Now clear those knees in your Dandasana. See that this leg is straight. If need be, lean back slightly to make the stretch of the leg complete. Then blankets out of the way. Photo bomb cats out of the way. Come on, cat. Ruby, go somewhere. Okay, so you're gonna lie flat in Urdhva Hastasana with these thighs getting as close to the floor as possible, along with, how shall I say, your pelvis is round against its sacrum. It's not flat. The lumbers go down, or the tailbone, right? It's not flat, but you could make it, you might say, sink toward the floor by, I don't know how to put it, make it heavy. So, pelvis, groins, thighs, abdomen, heavy. Then you bend your left leg and you roll to your side. Let's just say you bend the leg away from the camera and you roll toward the camera, exactly onto your side. Anantasana. Can you do that now? Just lie flat on your back. If you've been there for a bit and followed instructions, go right ahead and roll. So this is Anantasana with you as stretched as you could be, and you roll. Do not put a crease in that side. you're lying absolutely stretched straight. Now, these legs, this top leg has to stretch so much that it comes to meet the big toe base joint and the ankle bones come to meet. Then, as you're able, keep your balance. Take that top arm overhead and stretch your top side. See how my bottom hand is holding the top hand and pulling it. Now the two hands just do the same thing. If you get too balanced, it's tough. Now you bend your knee and you roll out gracefully and stretch. Now, if you want to, what's best is you stretch and roll to side too. That means you'll be rolling away from the camera, and that's fine with me. So the foot, if you do switch around, then stretch long. Set yourself up fully. And then bend that second knee, roll over onto your second side and be stretched. And push now that long bottom side on the floor. Keep it a straight line. So much so that it's work for you to balance. So straight, no bending at the hips. Stretch your legs like Tadasana. Stretch when you're ready, that top arm goes overhead. Join your big toes, join your ankle bones. It's like you're standing in Tadasana on your side. And then release, come out. Gracefully, don't try not to fall. Okay, then roll to your side, come up sitting. So we're just gonna make those legs behave a little differently in Anandasana. So we go on to our side at first on the back, and you stretch long, and then you bend the back leg and come to as before. Now, if you like, you can stretch the spine a little farther by propping the head up, keeping the elbow down. So if your neck is comfortable, this is good. Now, if you're watching closely, you will see my legs aren't matching. My big toes match, but my ankle bones aren't matching. So I have work to do in this side of the spine and in this leg. So I'm going to lift it up to, I don't know, just it feels like it's closer to hip width. And now I'm going to stretch and see, up in the air and stretch. That actually helped quite a bit, coming up and extending and then joining. Okay? So these legs have to be very strong, and the balance becomes precarious. You have to stretch your elbow, stretch that back top leg, bottom leg. And if this is giving you a neck ache, go back down. If the struggle is in your head and you cannot breathe, it stops being, well, it never does get started being asana. It just is you fighting with muscles. So quiet that breath. Remember, the first use of the exhalation mentioned is to make the chitta, the mind, quiet. Come on out. Lie flat for a bit. If you wish to turn around and change sides, go right ahead. So you stretch long. You can lie on your back. Another way is just come in on your side. Either way, you got to be long and straight. Now, if bending the elbow and supporting the head, at least for a few moments, works, it's useful to stretch that side of the neck, that side of this spine, right? Running from the thoracic to the skull. That's what's getting extra extension here. Now raise the top leg and extend through that thigh. So you feel activity in this inner thigh, inner hamstring. And reach out and join those big toes. And if possible, join the ankle bones, big fight. After which, you begin using the breath. Make use of that exhalation. And out you come. Onto your back and stretch. Then come out and stand up and be in Tadasana. Now, let's put it this way, be standing upright. We aren't actually talking about the asana yet. We're just getting to be upright. And you should know that back in the day, like a couple thousand years ago, before Patanjali, there was this practitioner. I think yogis of a sort existed back in the day of this fellow, but they might not have been known as such. It was the days of the birth of Buddhism and the birth of Jainism in India. And there was this saint named Mahavira, whose practice toward enlightenment was to stand in this pose for long periods of time, as in years. You know, the way the Buddha is depicted in his statues, in his pursuit of enlightenment, he was in seated postures. Mahavira, in his practice, in his pursuit, he stood in this pose. My point is, they're staying and they're staying. So stretch your legs toward the floor as if you wanted to anchor yourself for the next month or so. Keep breathing. Let the buttocks descend. Let the legs be straight. Let the body be balanced. There has to be an uplifting energy to match the anchoring. The downward stretch of the legs, right, that originates at the root of the leg is matched with the uplifting spine. The uplifting spine is matched with the anchoring arms extending from the spine and the skull. Spine and skull. So that stretch of the arms releases from the skull, matched by the uplifting trunk. Okay, Urdhva Hastasana. Swing the arms up. So now we aren't going to settle into this for another couple of months, but make sure when you stretch these arms that you're stretching them in a continuous line from the skull to the fingers. In the same way, in Tadasana, you stretch down through these trapezius continuously to the arm. That same stretch, that same continuity is here. So the neck and skull are stable. Come out. Tuck your shirt in. And take plank pose. Elbows straight. Those with neck problems, remember, you can hang just the head. Now, lift your knees, stretch your body in a straight line. You're doing Mahavira's Tadasana, straight body. Don't poke your middle back up or your buttocks up. Lift your, that's good, Chaya. Yes, lift. That's good, good. Nope, too much. And stretch that back hip to the heels. Stretch the back hip to the heels. Pratima, thighs lifted. Lift your thighs. Yes. Come out, everybody. Rest there. Okay. So go, I see you doing this, and it's a great idea. In fact, it's the place to go. Adho Mukha Virasana. Now, the head should rest on something and the buttocks rest on something. And the arms go straight. Toes together, knees apart. Now stretch your elbows straight. Palms flat, elbows straight, triceps rolling in. And keep coordinating, re-coordinating the extension from of the arms. Make that extension move from evenly, harmoniously from the skull across those top shoulders and out to the hands. So you can be quite strong in the arms, and none of that strength bunches toward the skull. Lengthen your trunk. Use the exhalations. Now, from this, come up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Pratima, put more distance between the hands and feet, just a little. Good, thank you. And leave the heels raised. Heels raised so that you get that last bit of extension out of the top sacrum, bottom lumbar. Top sacrum, bottom lumbar. Those legs should stretch, the knees stretch. That outer thigh comes up to the hip socket. The inner leg becomes quite straight, draws back. Keep the heels up, so drawing back opens that top sacrum, bottom lumbar. Now use this exhalation now as a way of scouring the pose with your attention and with your energy. Exhale. Exhale with a sense of purpose, a sense of aim. Your shoulders are getting tired. Exhale, directing your exhale to the shoulders. Exhale, strength to the arms. So you may begin more vigorously using the breath. Really work to complete the exhalation, so that your breath now becomes a means of energizing and directing that pose. Vigorous exhalations. Now release coming out. So the breath has a kind of a dual role, actually. One of its roles is to make the mind quiet. But the other role is, it is the technology of this practice. So it actually does everything. The breath goes everywhere, touches everything in, or ought to, in every pose. So it's got this active role to play, seeking and energizing or calming. It's doing what it needs to do. Get a chair. Put it on the floor and pat it with a sticky mat. Watch. I'm going to go through this chair from the backside toward the front. And I'm going to climb up on the chair. Oh, sorry. You need bricks. My mistake. Then you come through. Okay, don't come through, but as soon as you get your bricks, sit down and have a look. Don't go through the chair. It's just annoying to pick your head up and watch. So I'm going through this chair so that my pelvis and the topmost thigh get on the chair. And I want to put my toes on the floor and raise my trunk up so it looks to you like I'm in plank pose. Now, I think this feels more like plank pose to me. It gives me a chance to lift and lengthen this section of my trunk. And the thigh gets support on the chair seat. So I can practice keeping my trunk lifted and lengthened and my legs stretched away. Do this pose. It's basically 2, 4, 5-point balance. 2 hands, 2 feet, and the top thigh line. Now, your top thighs are on the back of the chair. Your ribs are toward the front of the chair. Those bricks are maybe half high, pratima, half lower than. Now push your elbows straight. So your trunk is mostly weightless, but those top thighs are heavy on the chair. Top thigh, very top thigh on the chair. And make your body a plank with awareness focused on the strength of the legs and the heaviness, firmness of those hips on the chair. Now, Chaya, bring your bricks in as close as you can to the chair. Yeah, so they're under the shoulders. You don't have to lift the head, but you've got to inflate the ribs to lengthen the waist. Widen those ribs and draw them forward away from the hips, not up to the ceiling, away from the hips. So I'm asking you to use your inhalation and exhalation I don't know if you can see it, but when I inhale, it's my intent to lengthen this waist, expand the rib cage. Did that work? And lengthen the waist. Lift the waist away from the hips. And stretch your legs. All right, watch. Come down to your palms so your ribs are on the chair. Stretch your legs. Make your pelvis heavy. Lift your legs up. Stretch your legs. Let your abdomen be quiet. Let your abdomen settle. Let your legs stretch. If you're watching me in the camera, my hands are off the floor. I'm stretching my legs, keeping this low back long. The buttock muscles are working. The leg muscles are working. release. Feet down, hands down, then knees down. And actually resting like this is almost pleasant, kind of pleasant. Okay. Are you okay? Is everybody okay? Arm up if you're okay. All right. Good. So look, this for the people with a lot of weakness in the low back, this is how you should proceed with what's coming next, which is right leg up, left arm up, then left leg up, right arm up. So you're not on your bricks doing a back bend. You're level on the chair seat. Opposite leg, opposite arm. Now, as you go through this, keep your trunk level on the chair. Keep your spine level. You're looking for full-on horizontal. If the leg comes up higher than your hips, good. Legs straight, so Pratima, using that wall, be careful. You want to try to be free of the wall against your feet. Now, if you've given equal time to both sides, come out. Some of you, this is the way you proceed. Others, chair free, right leg up. Don't drop the navel, keep it lifted. It's the bones that stay heavy, but that inner body stays long. Stretch yourself and use your exhalation repeatedly. And then lower that side and change. 1 second leg straight, second arm lifting. Now don't be super quick to just fling your arms out. Be much quicker to use your breath to scour the territory. Hold the pose by means of your focused and forceful, if necessary, exhalations. Release, come out. So the exhalation in yoga has 2 huge jobs. One job, the first one that's mentioned, is the one of making the mind quiet, using the slow exhalation and that pause at the end of the exhalation to bring the mind to a state of quiet. So that's something for experienced practitioners to be able to do, learn. Most of us can see it a little bit, but getting really good at it takes a while. The other thing that this breath does is it cleans. It is the primary mechanism of cleaning the cells of the body, cleaning any part of the physical body. And this is not just a yoga truism. We are a carbon-based life form. And as such, our metabolism and metabolic products, when you break down fat in the body, it's going to break down into mostly carbon dioxide. And then some other things that get passed out in your solid waste and liquid waste. But most of when you are embarking on a weight loss program, most of the pounds you lose is through your breath. So literally your exhalation. Go look it up. The point being, the breath is known in the Western world as the waste disposal mechanism, but it's also known in yoga that way, and it's used much more specifically. It's used directed by yogis as a scouring and cleaning mechanism. And all it takes is your attention saying, breath, go here. Exhalation, go here. Clean that place. So back to the chair. Put your chair near a wall. It doesn't need a sticky mat on it anymore. Now, you may need a blanket on the floor to kneel upon and keep your knees comfy and ankles grounded. You go near the chair. You could go super near the chair. You could go farther away. So this is Ustrasana, another back bend shape. So stretch your shins, and you might say embed your feet into the floor. Not so you strain your knee. Think about this. Think like Mahavira, who's getting set for, a year's stay. You can't be straining with your knee. You'll just break your knee. Become stable. Lengthen the foot. Lengthen the thigh. Release the buttocks down. Now, it's nice to keep the hands on the hips at first. Now you've got to use the breath to connect to your breath has many jobs. Use it right now as a cleaner, a scourer. Exhale to the feet. Exhale pelvically, because this is the place your back bend's going to grow from. Inhale. Lifting the ribs away from the hips. Exhale, keep the hips down. Take your hands to the chair. Keep completing your exhalation. Move the shoulders back. Lift the chest. Take your hands back. Dig the shoulder blades in. Lift your chest. Take your head back when it's logical for your throat. With that chest open, with your elbows straight, you can go to the front legs of the chair. Use your exhalation. Now, if your neck strains, keep your head more forward, but lift your chest. Inhale, come up. We'll get another try at this. Some of you are partway in it, and that's good. Some of you will go farther in a bit. So the idea of working with the breath is fraught with danger. If I tell you to breathe forcefully, I am not even hoping or, I'm not thinking about the possibility of you hyperventilating. When you breathe forcefully, your exhalations have to be complete so that you don't keep sort of building up. Your ideas keep processing So you exhale as much as you inhale, right? Don't hypo, don't hyper ventilate. Make sure that you're not making yourself dizzy, lightheaded. That's not the point. And my experience is you're not going to feel lightheaded if your mind is saying, I need that breath in my low back. I need to remove this obstacle. I need to clean this place. So I'm exhaling to make sure each time I breathe that I've got my low back connected. Every time. And it's mainly the exhalation that's going to be the connector. The inhalation is going to create mechanical space. It's going to open up the passageways, but the exhale is what's going to send the mind or the prana there. Please do another pose. Your speed, your intensity. Anybody who wants to, you can get rid of the chair and go farther down the back thigh. Use your exhalation. Inhale, come up. The exhalation is the means to overcome the obstacles. Okay, rest for a second. Are you okay? Is there anybody who's in trouble yet? All right. So let's go back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, just as a way of coming out of Ustrasana. And we're going to move to a different category of pose. So Adho Mukha Virasana. Now do this in a way that is gentle and easy on your back. If anybody found that there was some lumbar compression because of your Ustrasana, then make sure that you put a bit of padding that gives this sacrum and low back some quiet. You put a little roll across the front. Now, Adho Mukha Virasana, yeah, knees bent. Virasana. Now, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then come out. Now, here's a blanket. You might want two blankets stacked, kind of like a shoulder stand stack near a wall. 2 bricks with their short side to the wall. I can't tell you exactly, here's the measure so you see what's happening. Oh, and a strap. The strap is a just in case thing. So watch, I want my shoulders on this blanket and my head off and my feet on these bricks. With, if you can see this, my toes are bent up the wall. I don't know if you see it, but if this were the wall, my toes are bent up the wall with my base joint of the big toe on the brick, right? And the toes bent up the wall. So that's what the feet look like over here. That view is somehow obscured for you. And shoulders on this blanket. Okay, so keep watching, because here's what I do with the strap on my feet. It doesn't matter that my strap is buckled into a circle. Doesn't matter. I take the loop around my feet and I pull it between. So now I have two straps that are independent of each other, and I can hold my feet separately with one strap. I don't need two straps. So it's just a loop around my feet, and I pull one part back so I have loops. Okay? Not complicated. Got it? So watch. This is set to banda, of course. Now, a lot of us don't have any trouble catching the ankles. If that's true, you just catch this strap right next to your foot. That's all. Just still catch the strap. So everybody's on the same page. Bend your toes up the wall on those bricks. Now, said to banda. So you gotta think Mahavira-like, that you're trying to really settle into this and be stable on your legs. So I'm going pretty slow, but the idea is stand on your feet, stretch that back thigh through the knee to the heel. Your pelvis comes up through, it's the bones that are coming up, tailbone, hip sockets. You holding on to that strap around your ankles, take your arms down, lengthen the back of the arm from the skull, and lift your ribs. So it's Setu Bandha, or you might call it Chatushpadasana. It's a similar thing at this phase. If this bothers your back, and Chaya, I know you've had some issues here. These two bricks are replaceable with a chair. And I'll do that in just a moment, but give this a try, okay? Try this first. Bend those toes up. Get your buttocks close to your heels, as close as your knees permit, and make sure your neck and shoulders are comfy on those blankets. And then reach your arms out, press your arms down, and raise your hips up, feet down, hips up, shoulders down, ribs up. Yes. that strap. If you can't make heads or tails of that strap, just drop it, catch your sticky mat. Now make your legs firm and stable. Make them be there for the long haul. Use your exhalation in this twofold way that we've discussed. One is to bring a sense of peacefulness to the mind, and secondly, to communicate from the mind to the body. Refresh those arms, refresh those back ribs with your inhalation and exhalation. Now, release, come out carefully. Rest a bit, roll to your side, and come up. Remove the bricks and replace them with a chair, which means the blankets are going to have to come away to stay out from under the chair. And you people, the neck people, Vicky, anybody else, stiff neck people, 3 blankets, maybe 4 blankets, make your neck comfortable. Do the lovely thing. I'm looking for your chitta to be able to quiet down. So look where I put this blanket pile. I put it in such a location that I can sit, lie down with my head off, my shoulders on. This is just like shoulder stand. But I can also reach my arms out, and with a hammer grip, a tool grip, I can hold that chair leg. My whole palm can hold the chair leg at an arm's length. Okay, so you find this. This is how you go. If your knees or hips are stiff, if this or this joint is stiff, your feet go to the back of the chair seat and the heels go to the chair seat. So they tip and you lift up, holding with your firm grip on the chair. If you can go up on the chair edge, do that. Press down. This makes it easy on the lumbars, easy on the middle ribs, but it makes you open the neck and shoulders. You do, please. If you're not doing already, catch that chair seat with your whole hand, fingers and thumbs. Raise those hips up, roll your shoulders under. I'm hoping, I cannot see with the view I've got, I cannot see if you are still on the blanket properly with those shoulders, but you will know. Now go to work with this breath, this twofold strength of the breath. One is to clean the mind, and this is a point Prashant has made forcefully several times. And in so many words, he says we are so attentive to our, cleanliness of our skin and our bowels and our bladder and liver and our organic cleanliness, and we eat proper foods and we do things to cleanse and maintain the proper function. But he says we do nothing like that with the mind. We have no cleaning mechanism for and he says this, the fecal matter that the mind produces, the waste products of thought, incorrect thoughts, bad thoughts, funny, upsetting thoughts, disturbances, come out of this pose. He says the breath is the way to clean the mind. It's the only way. And it's as effective on the mind as it is on all the other byproducts of the work of the body. Please be in Shavasana or some comfortable reclining pose. And support yourself in a way that is suitable. Your low back, your knees. And you put the body in a symmetrical, even, balanced, relaxed position. So the breath now moves in this smooth and unimpeded way. Let go, let loose all the friction in the breath. Now, it is time so you may come out or you may stay put. I join my palms. I say namaskar to you. Thank you for your practice. practice.